What's up, everybody? In today's video, we're going to talk about listing and how to list things on eBay. So stick around. All right, so listing. Listing is the single most important thing we do. It's the way we sell our products. It's how eBay works. So if you don't have effective listings, or your listings are, the pictures are bad or the description's not good, it can make or break your income when being an eBay reseller. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you're new to the channel, my name's Adam. I go by the Pittsburgh Picker. I buy and sell things on eBay, and then I make YouTube videos about it, or YouTube videos about things that pertain to eBay resellers, like how to ship them, how to use the USPS priority mail system, so forth and so forth. So if that's the kind of content you like, please do consider subscribing to the channel. All right, so let's get right into it. So listing things on eBay, it's what we do. It's what we spend the majority of our time doing. If we're not outsourcing, chances are good we're listing things. And if you're like me, you're probably making YouTube videos about it as well. Listings can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And the reason I say that is because if your listing is lacking a lot of detail, or your pictures are bad, or anything like that, it could certainly change how the buyer perceives what you're trying to sell. An example of that would be, blurred photos, bad description, incomplete item specifics. Things like that can really make a difference in how you sell effectively on eBay. So today I'm going to go over kind of the beginner's guide. I'm not going to go into too much depth. I know there's a lot with the way eBay's asking you for more item specifics right now, and that's annoying a lot of the resellers, myself included. What I'm going to go into is just kind of how to start on this, and how we learned over the last year, because we've only been doing this for a year, well, less than a year. It'll be a year in February. And kind of what we learned, and kind of from the mistakes we've made. So, this is coming from a place of, or coming from a person who's really only been doing this for a year. So I'm sure some of the stuff I do is not, going to be, not going to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's what's working for us currently in our business. So I figured I might as well share that with you. So first things first, you want to make sure that you have a good area to take your photos in. Now, if you look at a lot of other people out there, you'll see they have like a whole studio set up. Now, you're looking at the room where the majority of our eBay business takes place. This room is not big, and I'm going to take you on a little tour of the room in a little bit and show you kind of what we're working with. This is a small room that we're working with, and we're exploring other ideas on where maybe we can move things into a different area. But for the time being, this is what we're working with. Lighting is going to be important. Now, in this room, I do shoot a lot of YouTube videos, so it's got good lighting. And the reason it's got good lighting, and I'll show you that in a little while, is because I do YouTube videos in here. So it's got great lighting, which lends itself to good lighting for listings. If you don't have the kind of setup I have in this room, you can make a small investment, and I recommend you do so. When I first started, this was our lighting rig, for lack of a better word, for shooting on eBay. And you don't need to shoot through the loop if you don't want to. You can shoot, from the side or anywhere, but these run you right around $20. It isn't the best lighting rig that you can find out there. It's far from it. But if you do a search on Amazon or even on eBay, you can pick up one of these for right around $20, and I recommend doing so. Only because your lighting from your fixtures is going to create a shadow, and shadows tend to make things look unprofessional, and you don't want them to look unprofessional, because the majority of what people are going to be buying based on is your pictures. The item descriptions and everything come later, and if you've ever shopped for anything online, the first thing you do is look at the pictures, and then you scroll through the pictures and look at them, and then you go look at the item description. So you definitely want to make sure your pictures stand out in some way. So that's the first thing you want to focus on. You want to focus on making sure your pictures have a kind of not necessarily a pop to them, but they just look well done. They don't need to look, like somebody, a professional photographer took them, but they do need to look good. You don't need expensive camera equipment. Your phone is normally more than adequate. If you have a phone that was bought in the last 2 or 3 years, chances are good the camera on that phone is going to be amazing or adequate for sure. So that's the first thing. When you're taking your pictures, you do want to make sure that you didn't accidentally blur them in some way. You want to make sure there's as much detail as needed. So let's use this kinetic sand here as an example. This would be something that would be relatively easy to photograph. And, if I'm photographing this kinetic sand, I want to get the front and all the descriptions that the manufacturer has put on the packaging. The back, I don't necessarily need to get the back, but, for the sake of listing on eBay, you certainly want to get a picture of the back. Should you get all this text in there? No. You don't need to. Should you get all the warning in there? No, you don't need to. But would you get a picture of the underneath? Probably. So you definitely want to photograph all 4 sides of kinetic sand. So, moving on to a different type of listing. If you saw my video of what things that aren't selling on eBay, you'll recognize this. Video games. If you're into selling on eBay, chances are good you've dabbled in the used video game market. Video games are a little different, especially ones that are open. You're going to want to picture, of course, the front, the back, maybe the top if it's sealed. If it's not, you could probably skip that. And then you want to photograph the inside and the disc. It's very difficult to get a picture of the disc, and you're probably looking at the camera that is looking at me right now. But you definitely want to try and get the best photograph you can, showing that the disc is not scratched up, or if there is scratches on it, showing the scratches that are on it. So that's kind of a general idea on how to photograph things like this. All right, so how do you do it? How do you set up? What should your background look like? So forth and so forth. We're going to go over that, but first I got to get this camera out of here, and we got to stand up and go to the shooting area of our little room. All right, so here's kind of a behind the scenes look of our eBay room. If you haven't watched the earlier videos, I will address this. My fiance likes creepy dolls, and this is her collection of creepy dolls. There's one with its head bashed in over there, and it's disturbing. So just know every time you're watching my YouTube videos that these are all staring at me. It's very scary. Anyways, so this is kind of a behind the scenes look of our eBay room. This is pretty much all our book inventory. This is some excess packing material. This is the area where I sit normally. And this is kind of the lighting setup I was talking about earlier. There's a big umbrella light right there. There's my prized possession, which is, you can't see because Stimpy's in the way, but that's actually a leg lamp from A Christmas Story. And these are all the collectibles that are mine that you see kind of in frame most of the time. And a bass guitar that I don't play anymore. So this is kind of our setup. This is the small little eBay room. This was just a spare room in our house that we turned into an office, that then turned into an eBay room, and now it's kind of cluttered. So we're working on potentially moving into a different space, because this is getting a lot bigger than we thought it was ever going to get, but that's a good problem to have. So how do we list things? Well, currently we are listing things here, and my fiance sits on the floor typically and lists things. I know this is not the most professional way of doing things, but it works for us. So what do? We put some old flooring that we had down in the basement, like so, and we list things. There's Small Child. Say hello, Small Child. Anyways, and that's what we do. The lighting in here is adequate enough that and that and that all light this area really well. So it actually lends itself to being a great listing area. If we could clear this off in some way, this could become a listing desk with no problem whatsoever. And we're working on that. It's just, you know, we're strapped for space. So this is what we do. Do you need to have panels and things like that? I recommend it because it gives it kind of a continuity to all your listings. Now, what we've used in the past has been just some sheets of like poster board that we got at the dollar store. We've made little backgrounds out of things. These are actually priority mail boxes. We've made other ones here, as you can see. And those just give you kind of a generic background to your listings. So that's what we do. Creepy dolls. And that's kind of a behind the scenes look at, the room as well. So let's get back to the desk. All right, and we're back. And you may have noticed that the camera angle changed and the audio is probably off a little because we're using the built-in audio on my camera rather than my usual microphone. I'm going to be using my phone a lot in this, and that tends to feedback through the microphone, and it's really annoying for you. So we're going to save your ears and do it a different way. So what are we doing? Well, you may have noticed this as well. This is a camera, my old GoPro Hero 4, that is actually going to be recording my hands. So what are we going to do? We are going to list this Chicago's Greatest Hit cassette tape on eBay. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. I'm going to show you how I, from start to finish. So even researching the listing, I'm actually going to show you how I do that real quick. I'm also going to show you kind of how I list and the easiest way to list things, which kind of involves, you'll see. So getting right into that, this camera is going to record down here. This camera is going to record me, and it's going to be wonderful. Maybe. I don't know. It's the first time I've ever done it. Sorry this is in frame, but if I brought it up here, it'd be way too far away. So it is what it is. Anyways, so first thing I always do when listing something. Now, I normally look these up when I'm at the thrift store, but I don't really get a good... I get kind of a yes, I'm going to buy it vibe, and then I move on from there. So I don't really look specifically into listings. So the first thing I do is I go open up my eBay app. I search with the barcode. This one happens to have a barcode, so it makes it a little easier. And I kind of search what's selling first. Something like this is... going between, this guy's an auction, so that one doesn't really count because that's just the starting bid. There's, looks like it's going for right around $5 on eBay. So I changed the filter settings to sold items, and then I look at kind of what they've been selling for. This guy sold one 11.5 for $3.99. This guy sold one for $5.50. So realistically, if I put $5 by it now, this is probably going to sell. Might take an offer on it if it's a little lower, but it will probably sell. So what do I do next? Well, this is what I do. I take the one that has probably the better description, like this one, but terrible pictures. And I go to sell one like this. Now, when doing something like this, make sure that there isn't any weird things going on with the title, because a lot of people put things in the title that just don't need to be there, like that EX does not need to be there. And you can add your own stuff to it. With this one, I'm probably not going to add much to it. It's pretty straightforward as far as cassettes go. The cassette on this, the item specifics with any sort of musical music media, I should say, there's going to be a condition. So cassette condition. I'm going to change that to very good. I'm going to change the cassette condition to very good. I'm going to change the inlay condition to very good. I'm going to change the case condition to very good. And then these are all your item specifics. So with this, you want to add as many specifics as you can. The duration and things like that, that's really hard to get your hands on. The edition, if I don't know the edition, I'm not going to change it, but genre, style, record label, so forth, you can put all that stuff in. I found that the additional specifics really don't matter all that much, especially when dealing with cassettes. Now, if you're dealing with clothing and things like that, you want to definitely put in as many additional specifics as you can. But, and down here, this custom SKU, this is for your purposes. So if you have certain drawers that are labeled, we have a cassette bin, so I could put cassette bin, but I already know that that's in there. With our clothing, we label those based on the bin they're in, and you can use this down here. But all of that looks pretty good, so we're going to move on. Pricing is always important. With this one, we don't do auctions anymore, so we're going to do $5. We're going to turn offers on, and then we're going to take a look at shipping. Shipping 3 ounces. I'd bet that's probably spot on, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to weigh it. Yeah, 2.3 ounces, 3 ounces. If it's with medium mail, it doesn't matter. If it's a pound, if it's a pound or under, it's going to go at the 1 pound rate. If it's 1.7 ounces, it's going to go at a 2 pound rate. So 3 ounces is fine for me. Preferences, I always change to require immediate pay because I don't like people just committing to buy something and then not buying it, or having to wait 48 hours for them to buy it. So I always put on immediate pay, which just means when the buyer goes to buy the item, they have to pay for it. So as soon as they hit buy it now, it comes up with the credit card information. They have to put the credit card information and pay for it, or put it in their cart and pay for it as soon as they check out. So any descriptions, features, flaws, I don't normally put in. I normally just put in here, see pictures for condition, and then I hit done, and that's it. Next is the photos. So I like to use the eBay app. My fiance doesn't. She takes pictures beforehand, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to go right through the app. So with picturing something like this, it's fairly straightforward. You're going to want to get a picture of the front, picture of the back. And then with cassettes, I take the cassette out and kind of set it on the top here, like so. Then I get a picture of the cassette. And what that does is it tells the person that the cassette that's in there is the cassette that is being sold. And then with cassettes, I like to get a picture of the underneath just to show it's not been damaged or there's any dust. And that's about it for that. So then we hit done. Now this will load. You can go off and do other things while this is loading. All right. And now that all our pictures have loaded, we are going to scroll down. And that's really about it for the listing. There's not much more to do with this one. So we are going to hit list your item. There you go. That is beginning to end how to list items. All right, and that's about it for this video. If you like this video, please consider giving the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps out me, helps out the channel. And when you hit that subscribe button, please hit the notification bell and change it to all. That way, you know each and every time I upload new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.
Good day, sir.